do you mind? Because Anne, at least,
But the music term we were looking for was a rubato.
Because you can...
No.
Which literally means to steal. Actually, if you look it up in a musical term,
to slow it down.
But it is it's an interpretive word. But what it literally means, if you were to look it up and perform it as it's written, is let's say you're in a certain tempo and you are given 2 measures of rubato. If we're in 4/4, 8 counts.
Right.
In theory, that first count and the 9th count of the next, is still perfectly in time. No time has passed. However, you have stolen time and given it back, so that you begin in time and you end in time.
Think Brahms waltzes.
No, and in a choreographic work, why it's so important to note the rubato in your score is because the dancer will be dancing along to a certain rhythm, and then they need to know where to expect that when they're performing to live music, there may be a little bit of game going on, and if they need to be on a specific note to do certain movements, then they need to know that they don't know what's going to happen because it's all up to the musician. So they have to anticipate that in those 8 counts, that they don't know what's going to happen, so they have to listen very carefully.
As an example, I think, at least this is my interpretation when I was staging the Weidman-Franz waltzes, that this happens in Brahms, and when you watch tapes of his company doing the Brahms waltzes, I felt that there was a use of rubato in the movement that they did, as well as in the music.
In the music, it's accelerando and deaccelerando. It's not rubato. Rubato is something else.
I think it was, Sandra. I'm pretty sure I knew.
We'll pull out the score. I'm pretty sure it's accelerando and deaccelerando.
When I was listening to the way that the people were performing the music, that I may be wrong about this, and maybe the musicians that you can tell me, but I think stylistically, I think that Brahms is one who uses rubato, and that there was a sense of that in the, this business of you keep the pulse, but you steal, you pull it out a little bit and you keep going at the end of the phrase. So that's the way I used to stage it. Now maybe I made that up, but am I right about Brahms? Or?
I would.
You are as far as the internet thinks.
Yeah, and you would also look like for a Viennese waltz. A Viennese waltz, it's written the same way. They'd be in 3, but the difference between beats 2 and 3, is totally different. But they're still written evenly. But it's just known in the musical world that when you get a work of that nature, it's going to push and pull. And the beat 1 is very small, beat 2 is very long, and it catches back up.
But a rubato is a very specific directive by the composer.
Right.
That's separate from an inherent knowledge of the style of that work.
Right.
Correct.
Well, you can put a rubato in anyway, and then you push and pull, and you do what you want.
It's
an interpretive term, but
true.
when it's not there, you don't do it.
When you interpret an LN score or any movement, this is that whole thing. You put every little thing in there so that the person will know There is always, to some degree or more or less, for anything, interpretation of this.
But you tell that to a choreographer, which I did with Norman Walker 30 years ago, and I was stopped from staging his work.
Sorry, I want to hear.
About 30 years ago, I was having a discussion with Norman Walker after I'd done a theme in variations or something about interpreting a score because of this very thing.
Right.
And he didn't say anything to me, but he stopped me from restaging his works because he thought there was more than one way to interpret what was written on the page.
Anyway,
and Mark Morris feels that we don't add enough, that we should be adding even more information because we're allowing still too much leeway.
Anyway, can you please Thank you. I gotta be back. The modern
Put it on vibrate.
Yeah, exactly.
The modern age.
Okay.
Oh well. Just a minute. I'm gonna
I have to take this call. So I officially end the meeting, but you guys can continue.
This gal will continue. I will not be called a guy. I'll have to train Americans. And now